Okay, 97.5, we got James back from Daily Use of Sports Trivia. After a long vacay, we're back, so in honor of that, we got some AC/DC for you, Back in Black. Hey guys, it's Chris and James. We are alive. And we are back for another Q&A for Game of Thrones Season 7, so let's jump right in with some questions. We have probably 6 videos full of questions.
I'm so sorry I've been gone, guys. Remember Theon and Reek? What happened to him? That's what I've been going through.
So that's a good analogy.
It's
I
terrible.
like that.
My life's been turned upside down.
But he's on the upward arc.
Heck yeah.
He's on the redemption arc.
I am.
So
feeling good too.
We're back to Theon.
So here we go.
Also, before we get to the questions, be sure to stick around to the end of the video. We're doing our first giveaway here on Smokescreen, so be sure to stick around for the details.
I'm so jealous. We're gonna start with Patreon. You guys rock, man. You're helping keep him rolling, you know.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's really, really appreciated, especially right now. So
yeah,
really, really appreciate you sticking with me.
Riddick don't have to eat old Roy anymore. Sorry, I want to start with Patreon, dude. I really do. And this is Layla Gig Q&A. Whatever happened with the theory that Robin Arryn is Littlefinger's son and he's trying to put him on the throne?
I think it's possible, but I doubt it. I mean, because still the perception is that he's Jon Arryn's son, and he can only get power through him. He still has to go and use him for the power, regardless.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So
Couldn't be.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly possible because they go back a long way.
Was hot for him.
Yeah, and and killed her husband for him. Yeah, so it's certainly possible, and it kind of makes sense. You know, he's kind of a little twerp, and Littlefinger was a little twerp that got his ass kicked by Brandon Stark. So, like father, like son, it's possible. Either way, though, he still has to use his name, being Arryn, to get power through him. So,
well, here she's asking another question, and I like this question too. I want to know what you say. If Bran crosses the wall such that it disturbs the protections of the wall, does Benjen get to cross then too?
Yeah, I would imagine. If there's no magic there to stop whites or White Walkers, then Benjen should be free to cross. The question is does he have a role?
That's what I was getting ready to ask you.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have asked. I've seen some other comments stating about the same thing. I mean, there's no reason why he wouldn't be able to cross, but what does he do? He's kind of stuck in this between human and white phase that I can only imagine can't end well for him. But he's still apparently fighting for humanity, unless there's some kind of backstabbing going on we don't know about. But I don't see that. I've seen a lot of speculation that Benjen's really working for the others or something like that. But if that was the case, he would have just killed Bran, because Bran's the threat. Not actually helped him and brought him to the wall.
Acted like he was going to help him and take him to the wall, but took him to his death.
So
they could kill him.
Or got away from the whites and then got his trust and then killed him in their sleep. They had to travel a long way to get back to the wall.
And then like a white version of Hodor comes out and just crushes it. I'm sorry.
Poor Hodor.
I'm sorry. I don't want to see a white version of Hodor.
No, I don't think we will. That'd be too much. They wouldn't do that. I mean, we can see our beloved Ned get his fucking head cut off, but we cannot see a white Hodor or Summer for that matter.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think we will. I don't think they're going that route.
Here's another Patreon, Demetrius M.
Demetrius
says Q&A. I don't necessarily believe this is the case, but do you see a scenario whereby the story does not culminate in the others invading Westeros? Nearly every Game of Thrones A Song of Ice and Fire commentator I've heard operates on the underlying assumption that this is the ultimate or penultimate to the story, and derivative analysis is based on that assumption. What if it's really heavy? If it's a really heavy device that's being used as a forcing function for the human story? Not saying no conflict, rather not some massive invasion. P.S. Don't sweat the timing. Your videos are quality.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that,
Demetrius.
Demetrius.
Too, because I've had a lot to do with the timing issues. So thanks a lot, Demetrius. I hope everybody feels like you do.
Yeah, appreciate it. But yeah, this is kind of getting into the territory of the next Dragon Race About Wolves. We had just talked a little bit about this, about kind of where we're going, which we're about to film. But yeah, I think it's a possibility. At this point, I would say, more than likely they're going to try to lay waste to everything. But Without giving away too much for that video, there is a possibility that they don't necessarily want to crush everything. They're just after a certain something.
And there is a human story, we believe.
And a very human story behind it, yes. So we actually just spoke about this. I was running some things by James as we prepared to record part 3 and 4 of Dragon Raised by Wolves. And it touches on this very subject. So good question.
Yeah, thanks for asking.
It will be addressed.
Stay tuned.
So yeah, I mean that's good thinking because we're here.
Yeah. All right. This is from Lori Perry. I'm very happy to pledge to your Patreon account. I look forward to more awesome videos from y'all. I can't wait to see what you guys have coming up next. Can't wait till season 7. I'll be asking a lot of Q&As for season 7. And here's the question: Can you do a history on Brienne of Tarth? And is she really a descendant of Dunk from Dunk and Egg?
She is a descendant. We don't know exactly how that is. We just got, I think, confirmation from George himself that in some way she will be related. Awesome. So, yeah, that will be a separate video. I may start doing some character videos. I've had a lot of people asking about, some backstory character videos. And, a lot of other channels do those, but, I can put my own spin on it. So I may do something on Brienne, but yes, she definitely is related to Sir Duncan the Tall.
I am, way behind all you guys on this stuff, but I have fallen in love with her character.
Yeah, she's really cool.
So honorable, and
she
and
to a
tries
fault.
hard to be honorable. Anyway, she fails a lot. Don't get me wrong.
To a fault, like Ned, kind of.
That's what
she reminds me of Ned.
Yes,
exactly.
And she is an ass kicker. Man.
She is in Game of Thrones and Star Wars. Next time, I hope she has a damn bigger role.
Yeah.
So, episode 8, we'll hopefully see some Brienne in space.
And here's an awesome question, I think, because I don't know that you've ever told me this. Maybe you have. Or tell me what you thought of this anyway. This is from Paul Dickey. Paul says, I have a question. Do you think that Valyrian steel is made with dragon glass? It would be similar to adding carbon to steel to make it stronger. Maybe Sam discovers it and, wait for it, Gendry forges it. Maybe that is why Valyrian steel kills White Walkers, because it's forged with obsidian/dragon glass.
Yeah, I think we had talked about this before a little bit, or maybe it was another video I did. But yeah, I think that's a very strong possibility that the maybe powdered dragon glass is added to it. I do think that that's possibly an ingredient, for sure, but I think it's still tempered with blood. It takes magic and blood.
Right.
You know what I mean? So dragon fire, blood, and possibly dragon glass being the actual ingredient with steel to forge it.
Gotcha.
So I think so. I think that's the connection.
And do you see Sam and Gendry getting together and forging some more?
Well, I don't see Gendry because nobody knows. I see Sam learning that, perhaps. I see Sam learning the secret of Valyrian steel. I see the last hero story about Nissa Nissa being how Valyrian steel is made. That's what I believe it to be. The question is why do we need that?
If Dragonglass kills him by itself.
If Dragonglass kills him by himself, and there's tons of it everywhere, especially on Dragonstone and volcanic areas, why do we need a bunch of Valyrian steel? So why do we need Gendry to reforge Valyrian steel or make more of it? Now, you could argue that, it's stronger, it never goes dull, it's not like brittle like Dragonglass, like an arrowhead would be. And so, yeah, there's an argument to be made about that, I suppose, but it's just kind of like the whole, we were talking about the Nissa Nissa Lightbringer thing, a flaming magical sword versus Valyrian steel, it already does the job. Why do we need to add fire to it?
Yeah, that's right.
So why do we need more Valyrian steel when we have shit tons of Dragonglass that can be made into arrowheads and spears? And
that's true.
So, I don't see why that would be necessary, if that makes sense.
Now, I'm going to hit you with something crazy.
Uh-oh.
If this is true.
If the Dragonglass
is in Valyrian steel.
Okay.
And you say it takes magic.
Or Dragonfire being the magic, maybe, yeah.
Okay. Is there a way, since you told me about the Dragonglass candles?
The glass candles, yeah, just the...
It's not Dragonglass, it's just...
They're obsidian, yeah. Okay. Same thing.
So, could we see a flaming sword? I'm just saying.
That's very true. That's a good point. If glass candles are indeed obsidian, assuming they're pure obsidian, just shaped like a candle, and you can somehow light that, with a weird flame as the way it's described, and do it with magic, there you go.
And why not? Purely for effect. But
it'd be purely for effect.
Prophecy kind of thing, wouldn't it?
It very well could. Very well could. I don't see why, if it's a glass candle that's pure obsidian, what's the difference between that shaped like a candle and a regular old kind of piece of natural obsidian? What's the difference? Other than the shape.
Other than the shape.
So if that can be lit with magic, why not? Sure, it's possible.
Awesome. You're welcome. Next question's from Ryan K. Hey Chris, thanks for the video ding. New subscriber. Curious, where did you get all the information on the religions/gods? I haven't read too far into the books, so wouldn't know it from there.
Yeah, just a combination of reading the books, reading The World of Ice and Fire, and just online looking up things whenever I have an urge. So it's one of those things where you learn a little bit throughout the books here and there, and it kind of all compiles and adds up.
Like
at some point,
somebody like Brian K. and myself, a good starting point would be A World of Ice and Fire.
Yeah, World of Ice and Fire, or any
backstories on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but any online wiki, the wiki.
True.
You got Ice and Fire wiki, you got Game of Thrones wiki.
True.
Same religions are there. You can look up all that stuff. There's videos on those specifically about religions and the history of those religions. So, but basically, the main ones like I mentioned, because I did a religion video. Check out that video. It'll be. I can actually put a link in that in the description below. You got the old gods, which is the North, which we believe to be Bran, is essentially an old god now. You'll see that in that video where I talk about that. You got R'hllor, which is not the biggest religion, but it's the most known now because of Melisandre. The biggest religion is the Faith of the Seven, which is essentially Catholicism. 7 faces of one deity, 7 aspects, you could say. And then you have many, many other ones. The Andals brought over Catholicism, that type of thing. Or the Faith of the Seven, when it was just the old gods before, and so it was like the Crusades. So it's based off some real history, and real religions are kind of formed and forged together to form these religions in this world. So, cool. Yeah, a lot of resources out there.
Our buddy Big Cincy. Big Cincy, I appreciate you, man, reaching out to me and everything. It meant a lot, bud. Big Cincy says, Q&A, Chris and James, I love the show. Hope you answered this in the video.
That didn't help.
What do you think about the last hero, Azor Ahai, and the prince that was promised being 3 different people like Bran, Dany, and Jon, and the 3 having a role to play in the fight for the Dawn? Or do you believe these to be just 3 different versions of the same story, adjusted because it was being told in different parts of the world? I would love to hear your thoughts. Hashtag, Chris is my Obi-Wan of God.
Nice hashtag. I like that. I didn't see that question, so no, I didn't know about the hashtag. Let's start that hashtag campaign.
Heck yeah.
Anyway, that goes kind of back to what I've been saying kind of all along in a lot of Q&As and videos, that I don't think, even though we have, I think, a savior-like character in Jon Snow, you have a savior-like character in Dany, you have the whole Azor Ahai thing, like, I was going to make a separate video on this, and I actually still may do this, where you can make literally anybody fit this, reborn amongst salt and smoke, under a bleeding star type thing. At least some of those, you can make anybody fit that. I was going to do a video where Davos actually fits that description.
Wow.
A lot of people think that Jorah could fit that description, being reborn, in a way, and Davos being reborn as a knight,
right,
instead of from a smuggler. So I think it goes back to, I think that's pretty accurate. I think that this is a story that is about people working together and about senseless wars, and in the end, where it really matters, they all have to come together. So I do think that these stories were passed down generation to generation and got changed to this savior figure, where in reality it was probably a combination of people working together. So I do think, and that we'll get a little more into that in the Dragon Raised by Wolves,
I was thinking that
3 and 4 that we're about to do.
Right.
And so, yeah, I think that kind of fits where Bran's a little piece of it, Jon's a piece of it, Dany's a piece of it, etc. So I agree.
I think you're right. I think you're on to something there.
I don't think George R. R. Martin believes in solo saviors.
I'm going to give my brother, Big Cincy, a twofer.
Okay.
This is a first, Big Cincy. You earned this, brother. Now, everybody don't want you to get jealous, but Big Cincy is a loyal fan, and he really cares about my well-being. So I'm going to give you this twofer, Big Cincy. Q&A. Do you think that the Faceless Men are for or against the White Walkers? And furthermore, could the Night's King be the many-faced god?
First part of the question, I don't necessarily think they would be for the White Walkers, but I don't think they're necessarily pro-Targaryen, pro-Dragon.
Okay.
There's something going on with the Faceless Men in the books. Jaqen is not, or who we call Jaqen, is not, he is in the Citadel. And he's posing as a guy to get a key that supposedly unlocks every door in the Citadel. And apparently he's after a book, and this book is about dragons. Yes. So if you look at the history of the Faceless Men, it started, or the many-faced god for that matter, it started in the mines of old Valyria. There were slaves. The conditions were horrible.
Right.
It was under the 14 flames, volcanic, mines where they mined precious metals, etc. And these slaves started praying for death as a release because it was so horrible.
And they considered it a gift, you were saying. You were telling me this before.
Yeah, so basically the first quote-unquote faceless man, heard this from some slave and started passing out death as a gift, as a release. But then one day he heard a slave not praying for his own death, but praying for his master's. So they received the gift as well, and of course they joined up and became 2 faceless men, became 3 and 4 and so on. And basically it boils down to, it doesn't matter who you worship, whatever, you're going to end up in the same place. Quote unquote, the many-faced God was born, and therefore the freed slaves then later formed the city of Bravos. And Jaqen tells a very shortened version of that in the show in season 6 to Arya. I'm not quite sure, like, Dany's doing things that are very anti-slavery.
Right, very much.
She grew up, she saw the Dothraki and how they worked, and everything she's doing is an anti-slavery agenda. Leaving the world a better place, even though she has her moments of Mad King.
Yeah.
She is a Targaryen, but I don't necessarily think that the Faceless Men are anti-Targaryen or anti-Dany, but maybe anti-Dragon and Valyrian. It's hard to say. It's hard to say.
Excuse me for interrupting you here, but he's asking, do you think they are for or against the White Walkers?
Yeah, I wouldn't think well, you could say if they think the White Walkers are going to destroy everybody, that they could be for them because it serves the many-faced God, right? I mean, everybody, but I don't necessarily believe that either, because they do take out people for a price at the same time. So it's an odd faction. It started off as what seemed to be a noble thing.
Very noble, I think.
Releasing slaves from death and then eventually killing masters and killing people that were, obviously pro-slavers. And then they founded a free city of Bravos, etc. Why do all that just to want the world to be destroyed? But now they're assassins for hire. And they don't care what the person did or didn't do or how good of a person they were.
Right.
That's what we saw in the scene with Arya in season 6 when she questioned killing Lady Crane. She was like, she's a good person. She seems like a good lady. The other girl wants her dead because she's a better actress. But Jaqen said, servants don't ask questions. So It's kind of a weird organization. It's a cult.
And you think the Night's King could be the many-faced God?
No, I don't think there's a many-faced God. It goes back to the whole, I did that video, religions in Westeros. There's no, in my opinion, there's no gods. I mean, you can label what you want. Even Jaqen says that. He says the Red God is owed 3 lives, and people were asking me that in the Q&A. I think it was actually. But they were going to burn. So he acknowledges other gods.
Gotcha.
If they were going to burn, that's given to the Red God or lore. So I don't think that there are any gods. I think he's, whether he truly believes there's an actual deity of death, I don't think so. I just think they serve the purpose of death.
Right.
If that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense to me. They serve the purpose of death. That purpose in itself is almost the entity they're speaking of.
Exactly. Right. That's a good way of putting it.
Next question comes from JoJo to the End. JoJo to the End says, for the Q&A, can the red priests who see visions in the flames be a type of fire-type green seer? There's always a balance with all magic on this show, so I would assume that the red priests and priestesses are flame green seers like the children of the forest have ice green seers.
Yeah, that's actually pretty interesting. The question is those, if I believe there are no religions and no gods in the story, where are they getting the visions? And I kind of lean towards that they are perhaps receiving visions from the same people up north, like Bran and Bloodraven. And again, I'll go back to the Melisandre chapter in A Dance with Dragons when she sees Bran and Bloodraven in her flames and associates them with the Great Other and his champions, the enemy, basically. But it's actually probably them sending her that vision.
So they're like a tool for Bran. He's feeding her message so that she
could be
the prophecy come to fruition.
Now, Bran just took over as the three-eyed raven, right? So it's been Bloodraven in the past, and before him there was probably a child of the forest, green seer or something. So yeah,
I mean James, I think.
Yeah, James. That's right. James was the one before Blood Raven. Blood Raven was the heir to James. So yeah, I mean, I think it's possible though. I mean, you just don't know. It's magic. We don't know how it works except for blood's related and fire's related in some ways, and the other forms like warging and all that stuff. So yeah, I mean, that's a good thought though. It depends.
It really is cool.
It's kind of a cool balance. Yeah. But then again, you have things like glass candles, and I was telling you that before. Anybody that can learn magic can use glass candles and send visions, like Quaithe does to Danny. And so Marwyn in the books, who I hope is in season 7, he can use glass candles and send visions. Apparently, hopefully we'll see that in the show, where they're actually obsidian glass candles with no wick. It can be lit by magic, and they can send messages to people or enter dreams and stuff like that. So that's clearly possible. So maybe it's somebody in the background pulling the strings, a puppet master. We don't know, but I don't think it's a god.
Hell yeah! Hey, if they don't do it on the show, let's make another prop and make a glass candle.
There you go. That's a good idea.
That's not a bad idea.
We'll put that on, what's it, Etsy?
Hey. Next question, Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan, yeah.
Jonathan Hutzabal says, Q&A question, is it remotely possible that despite all the build-ups and theories going around, that a character like Dany will not be a part in the Battle of the Dawn? She might even be killed or injured during the conquest of Westeros. Then parentheses says, thinking about the Greyjoys or Mad Queen Cersei or even a far-fetched Blackfire backstab by our little friend Varys. Then he says, if that is the case, who would fly the third dragon? We all suspect Tyrion and Jon to be the other two next to Dany. Could Bran be the third warging into the otherwise uncontrollable dragon?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a possibility. I mean, it would be out of left field, right? Where Dany has this whole big plan, and it looks like she's going to be this, good queen and coming over and abolishing, like she said in season 6 with Yara and Tyrion and Theon, our fathers were terrible people and left the world a horrible place. We're going to leave it better than they did. And then she comes over and oops, she falls off fucking Drogon and breaks her neck. So yeah, I mean, that's actually not a bad idea. That that would give an excuse for Bran to warg a dragon, if that's even possible. We don't know. So it's certainly possible. I mean, I don't quite see it going down that way. That would almost be bad writing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Just for that much of a story of a character development, but it can happen. I mean, it's Game of Thrones. It's ice and fire. Main characters die all the time. But yeah, I mean, I don't think that would happen, but it's certainly a possibility. But if that would happen, to answer the question as far as the third dragon rider, if we assume that Jon's one and Tyrion's possibly one, in the books you have Aegon. Even if he's a Blackfire, he still got Valyrian Targaryen blood. I mean,
right.
They were a line of legitimized Targaryen bastards, so he could very well be a dragon rider. Again, I question his importance because he's not in the show.
Okay.
So,
not bad.
Aegon, or there's another secret Targaryen out there. I don't think Varys is going to necessarily fly a dragon, but
All right, man. I mean, honestly, that looks like a good place to wrap it up for this one. We got a lot of work to do to give these people the videos they've been wanting.
Got a lot of videos to make, a lot of filming to do, and a lot of damn editing coming.
But I thought I'd cut it a little bit short because I know you wanted to talk about something. So
yeah, so I mentioned at the beginning of the video that this is going to be the first giveaway here on Smokescreen. So what we're going to do is have a giveaway for.
So excited.
Mr. Mag the Mighty. That's right, the Funko Pop. I think this is the 6-incher, right? This is the Comic-Con exclusive Mag the Mighty. So if you can see that there, he's pretty badass.
Heck yeah.
So yeah, this was released the Comic-Con exclusive. So
let them see how big he is compared to these other.
Yeah, I mean, you think about, look at the size of Mag there versus say a regular Pop there. Let me lift that up so you can see that. There's
Sweet.
Jon beside Mag.
Heck yeah.
So yeah, this is the big boy. I think these goes for about $35. I've seen them for $45 and more, and very, very limited apparently. So anyway, going to give this away. So let me tell you how to do this. So I'll just sit that right there. So anyway, I will have a link in the description. I found a cool little app called Gleam, and it helps me keep track of this. So this is what you need to do to enter the contest. So first of all, you need to be a subscriber to Smokescreen. You need to follow me on Facebook, or like the page on Facebook, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Follow me on Twitter, and also share a video. Any video you want, share it with your family, friends, or whatever, through some kind of social media outlet. And the cool thing is you don't have to do all this separately. You can go to the link that'll be in the description to the Gleam app, and you can actually do that from a PC, desktop, phone, whatever. Click subscribe if you're not a subscriber. and it'll actually take you to the YouTube page to subscribe. You then click follow on Facebook, and it'll take you to there, take you to Twitter, etc. And then you can share a video, pick any video you want, doesn't matter to me, and that will actually give you an entry per item. So in other words, 4 entries, and it will give you a little check mark and 1 entry per one of those items. So you get 4 entries total. Also to mention, Patreon people, you're already entered, and if you want to do that as well, that'll just give you more entries.
Right.
So if you're on Patreon, you're already entered to the contest, so you don't have to worry about doing anything if you don't want to, but feel free to do the same thing, and that'll just give you 4 extra entries if you complete that task. So what we'll do is we'll start this as soon as I publish this video here in a couple of days, once I get everything edited out, and we'll run it for about 7 or 10 days, and we'll announce the winner in our next Q&A. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoy. We'll try to do these once a month or so, and it's not just going to be a damn shitty $10 gift card for Amazon.
No.
We're going to do some cool giveaways. So anyway, guys, yeah, I will leave the link for that in the description below, so be sure to enter, and somebody's going to get Mag the Mighty. So anyway, I think it'll be fun. So it'll help the channel grow as well. So I look forward to doing these. It's really cool, and a little something I can do to give back. So I really appreciate all the support. So,
and I do too.
And he does too. All right, guys, so that will do it for us for this Season 7 Q&A. We will have more coming, more Q&As coming. Like I said, we'll announce the winner for this giveaway in the next Q&A for 7 to 10 days from now. In the meantime, we are going to be filming a Dragon Raised by Wolves Part 3 and 4. So that is coming finally. We finally got, synced.
Yes.
So we're going to be filming a lot of stuff. I have also 2 other videos I filmed earlier today. So I have a lot in the editing queue. So a lot more coming. So as usual, thank you for all the support. Be sure to subscribe to get everything. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you